In the deep south of 1933, in a one-room shack in Barnwell, South Carolina, a child was born who would change the face of music forever. James Joseph Brown entered this world in poverty, but he would leave it as the Godfather of Soul. Young James's early life was the definition of hardship. His mother abandoned the family when he was 4, and his father struggled to make ends meet, moving them to Augusta, Georgia. Living in his Aunt Honey's brothel, young James learned to sing by entertaining soldiers from nearby Camp Gordon, earning nickels and dimes that helped put food on the table. But James Brown refused to let poverty define him. He shined shoes, picked cotton, and danced for spare change. He formed his first after being sent to jail at 16 for stealing a car. Brown's spirit that would later make him famous. By the early 1950s,
let's lift our voices
Brown
to
had
the
joined
Lord.
Bobby Bird's group, the Famous Flames.
James, I've heard you sing. You got real talent. How about joining my group, the Famous Flames?
Mr. Bird, I'd be honored.
Their breakthrough came in 1956 with Please, Please, Please. Watch this performance and you'll see the seeds of everything that made James Brown legendary. The raw emotion, the dramatic cape routine, the screaming intensity that would earn him the title, the hardest working man in show business.
Please, please, please.
But it was the 1960s when James Brown truly revolutionized music. Listen to Papa's Got a Brand New Bag from 1965.
Papa's got a brand new bag.
That's not just a song, it's the birth of funk. Brown shifted the emphasis to the one, the first beat of every measure, creating a new language of rhythm that would influence everything from disco to hip-hop. Brown didn't just change music, he changed American culture. During the height of the civil rights movement, he became a voice for Black pride and self-determination. His 1968 song, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, became an anthem of the era, giving voice to a new generation's demand for respect and equality.
Say it loud.
I'm black and I'm proud.
The story of James Brown is also the story of relentless innovation. His band was like a precision machine, with Brown as the strict taskmaster.
He would fine you if you missed a note or had scuffed shoes.
But this perfectionism created some of the tightest, most influential groove music ever recorded. By the 1970s, Brown had earned his crown as the Godfather of Soul. His influence extended far beyond music. Those dance moves you see from Michael Jackson, that energy you hear in Prince's funk, the samples that built hip-hop, they all trace back to James Brown. But success didn't shield Brown from struggles. Personal problems, changing musical tastes, and legal troubles marked his later years. Yet even in difficult times, his legacy only grew. When hip-hop emerged in the 1980s, Brown became the most sampled artist in history, his distinctive beats forming the foundation of a new musical revolution. James Brown performed until the very end, maintaining his reputation as the hardest-working man in show business, right up until his death on Christmas Day, 2006. James Brown performed until the very end, maintaining his reputation as the hardest-working man in show business, right up until his death on Christmas Day, 2006. His final concert was in Europe, where he performed despite having pneumonia, still giving everything he had to his audience, just as he had done for over 50 years. Today, James Brown's influence resonates through virtually every genre of popular music. From his legendary performances at the Apollo Theater to his game-changing rhythmic innovations, from his civil rights activism to his cultural impact, Brown's legacy is impossible to overstate. The boy who once danced for pennies in front of a Georgia radio station transformed himself into the Godfather of Soul through talent, determination, and unstoppable drive. He created the blueprint for modern rhythm and blues, invented funk, and laid the groundwork for hip-hop. His music spoke of pride, power, and perseverance.
The one thing that can solve most of our
themes that
problems
emerged from
is
his
dancing.
own life story. James Brown once said, "The one thing that can solve most of our problems is dancing." Through his music, he proved that art could transcend poverty, overcome racial barriers, and change the world. His story reminds us that even from the humblest beginnings, a person can rise to transform culture itself. The hardest working man in show business may have left the stage, but his groove lives on in every funk bass line, in every sampled beat, in every dance move that celebrates the sheer joy of rhythm. James Brown showed us all how to get up, get into it, and get involved. That's not just music history, that's American history written in sweat, soul, and the unstoppable spirit of James Brown.
End with signature.